There, it's David Duford here at davidduford.com, where I help insurance agents like you become top producing insurance professionals. And what I'm here to do today is answer a question in which I had somebody email me on wanting clarification on how to handle FE policy or final expense policy persistency concerns. They don't want to be in a position selling a product that has lots of lapses. And so what I'm going to do today in today's training is just basically give you an overview of what I recommend you to do if you're selling final expense, to make sure that you keep the policies that you write and decrease your concerns about over-the-top lapse and persistency and replacement issues. So a couple of things before I get started. New book out, The Official Guide to Selling Final or Insurance for New Agents. If you're new to the business, check that out. Buy it. It's super cheap on Amazon. It's just a really good, beginning book to understand the insurance business for real. Highly recommended for you guys who are brand new to the business. If you're interested in final expense, The Official Guide to Selling Final Expense Insurance, you can find that on Amazon or my website if you'd like the ebook as well as the interviews with top producing insurance agents. Good book that details agent success from a variety of different sources. So let's get started with today's training. So what can we do to reduce persistency concerns with final expense sales? I think there are two different things or two different strategies that you need to employ in your final expense business to minimize the risk for lapses. Now, we'll say this before we go any further. Lapses cannot be eliminated entirely. You're going to have people who change their mind. You're going to have people who drop your coverage for something else. There's little you can do to prevent every single person from changing their mind. It's going to happen. So this isn't about eliminating this altogether. It's about eliminating it as much as possible. And my goal for my agents who work with me is to have a first-year persistency in the 80% to 85% level. Now, I have agents that have better than that, and I'm sure there's agents that have worse than that. But generally speaking, if you average out all your production, it should fall somewhere in between the range of 80 to 85%. Anything lower than that, you're going to start to run into problems with staying ahead of chargebacks and dealing with lapses and all that issues. And usually that's an indication you're not following one of the two strategies I'm about to employ. So with an idea of what to expect and how to manage or judge your persistency, what can we do to actually increase it or make sure it's as good as possible? So the first thing I think is, of course, me being an independent agent with multiple carriers, I believe in the final expense business especially, being independent affords you the ability to keep more of your carriers. And why is that? Well, chiefly it's because of underwriting. I'm not after any sort of particular carrier in this video or captive company. It's not really a personal issue with captivity in this regards. I just think that one product selection completely limits the ability to get the best plan for your client. Now, why is that a problem? So first of all, I think you have to understand your prospects. First of all, they're not you. Second of all, they're very income restricted, most of which are on Social Security or they're disabled. And they're in a position where also they've got health problems, many of them. And if you walk in with a carrier that's not competitively priced, doesn't have to be lowest price, but it's not competitively priced, nor is it actually appropriate for the best underwriting for the client, you're basically planting the replacement sale right then and there. I mean, there's companies out there that will grade or return a premium an insulin user. And there's tons of independent carriers that'll take that first day full coverage. So I say all this because, you're asking for trouble. And imagine if it was your mother that somebody sold a policy to, and she has a 2-year waiting period plan, sometimes even 3-year waiting period plan, and you could get something better. Wouldn't you want something better for her? So agents who do this, that write one carrier or who push one product over for their own personal gain over the clients, are going to have more long-term risk. Now, it's good for us who are independent agents because we can come behind those and say those prospects and say, hey, look, the agent didn't do you right. You can actually do better and get first day full coverage. So if you're independent, this is not eliminated, of course, but it's reduced dramatically. Our clients' health just varies wildly. They're older, and that's the big driver here. You got to be flexible with the carrier offering so that you make sure that they've got a good deal. Because I can't blame them personally if I gave them something that wasn't a good deal and they decided to go somewhere else. And again, it's such an easily preventable problem that everybody, especially if you're independent, well, I think every final expense agent should be independent, but if you're independent, then make sure you've got multiple carriers to handle it. The second issue here is you've got to make, and this would apply if you are captive and you work with one company or if you are an independent agent. This is an equally important metric to track. You want to make sure that anything that you sell is easily affordable. Very important. You want your life insurance final expense plans to be easily affordable for our clients. Now, this is hard for a lot of people coming into this business with prior sales experience. They've learned, and this is true, not to sell on price, but this isn't exactly the same thing. We want to sell on value. We want to sell them the value of our plans, giving them comprehensive coverage at a fair rate and being able to explain things to them. So there's still a value proposition beyond price. But what this is about is just matching the reality of the income strata of our prospects and really their pathway in life. You don't get the 60s, 70s, even 80s without insurance and for no reason whatsoever. What I mean by that is a lot of these prospects put off the insurance purchasing decision, and this has not been important. They've preferred to spend their money elsewhere. So what I'm saying is it's not always been a priority. They've waited to the last minute, and zebras don't change their stripes, as they say. So you want to prevent people from going back to their predispositions of, I'm not going to die anytime soon. I'll just pick this up later, and minimize that impact by making sure whatever you sell is almost forgettable in their budget. Easily affordable is a term that John Savage used a lot. He wasn't even selling final expense. He was selling to VIP type of clientele and middle of the road type of prospects too. But it's really important to make sure whatever he sold stuck on the books. And for the reason that really, if it doesn't stick on the books, what good is it anyway? And why would you want to sell a client if you cared about them having some kind of coverage? Why would you sell them something that was not affordable or that was outside of their budget? Or perhaps you knew better that they should have started a little less. So how do you do this? Well, I teach agents to sell based off of premium. So it kind of sounds like this. Instead of saying, hey, here's a $10,000, $15,000, and $20,000 coverage, I start with fact finding and pre-qualifying to figure out exactly, what the situation is with the prospect. What are they looking to accomplish? What's their needs? I want to know their needs. And then also their desires, their wants, and then meet somewhere in the middle. And in my last pre-qualification question, I asked in so many words, if I can qualify for a program today, can you afford somewhere between X and Y premium per month? I'm looking for a 100% confirmation of them saying, yes, I can afford it. If they say anything other than that or they're kind of wishy-washy, I assume that means no. And then I walk back and say, well, if I can get you something for less money per month, would you be able to afford that? I keep going until I get confirmation that they can definitely afford whatever it is that I'm selling. Now, why is this the case? Because I don't want to argue over price. I don't want price to be a problem with my prospects. I want it to be forgettable. I prefer to take a smaller face amount or a smaller case size in premium that stays on the books initially than push too far and get a case that's too much. I get paid more on paper, but I have a higher chance of losing it because they lapse. I mean, I've seen crazy stuff. Like I've seen clients where prospects where they make $900, $1,000 in retirement or disability a month, and they're paying $100, $150 a month of premium. That's just crazy. I mean, it's crazy. It's a lot. What? And that's not even to mention all the other bills that they've got to pay. So stuff like that is just a big red flag that you will get lapsed, or just if some agent comes behind, they'll just replace it and say, hey, let's get you something else instead. Like I had an agent call me up earlier this week, and he said, I've got a client with a certain carrier, and she's paying $90 a month for $30 grand. She's 54, but she's afraid she can't afford it. And so what the proper approach is to qualify need better and then meet somewhere in the middle between what her needs are and what she wants, so that's affordable. And that's the kind of policies that stick. And she's only had this plan for like 2 or 3 months. So it's a huge chargeback waiting for the agent, especially as winter hits in most places and the heating bill starts to get higher and higher and higher. So I hope this gives you some ideas on how to keep final expense policies on the books. It's not that difficult. Just do the right thing. Sell your clients a policy that's easily affordable. Sell your clients a plan that's comprehensive in coverage and does the job correctly. And what you'll find is your persistency issues won't be a problem. They'll be minimized. You'll have clients who are more appreciative, who refer more, and you'll probably sell a lot of those same people in the future. Again, David Duford at davidduford.com. Make sure you check out my books, the interviews with top producing insurance agents, official guide to selling final expense insurance, and last but not least, my new book for new agents, the official guide to selling insurance for new agents. You can find all of those on Amazon or the ebook versions on my website. David Duford here at davidduford.com. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for checking out my stream. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.